So, some years ago, I was speaking at a Christian conference way up in the woods in northern Wisconsin. And I just mean you had to land there at that airport in the middle of the state of Wisconsin, and you had to drive about an hour and a half. And you got on this dirt road, and you were like 500 miles from civilization. And you just drive through the woods, and there's a left-hand turn, and you go up over the hills, and there in the middle of the forest, there's a Christian camp. And I was up there speaking many years ago. Now, I was speaking that week, all week long, on forgiveness. What forgiveness is, and how it works, and how we can learn to forgive others. And I noticed there was a woman who sat in the front, or near the front, in all the meetings. I don't think I ever spoke to her. She was tall, she was well dressed, and she just sat there. She was in all the meetings. Like I say, I didn't know who she was. I finished my messages and went back home. And a few days later, I got the following letter from her. Dear Pastor Pritchard, I left camp with a full heart yesterday. Thank you for your ministry among us. I am the tall woman who sat pretty much front and center to you. Your last message was deeply challenging to me to go beyond just forgiving to the point of neutrality. Really, I was talking about going and blessing your enemies. Since Christ commanded that we be proactive in this matter, it can only be done by His power. Humanly speaking, I am bankrupt, just where He wants me. And I say, I don't know. To this day, I don't know what her personal circumstances were that led her to say that. I am bankrupt, just where He wants me. And then she had a little smiley face in the text. She says, I carried the enclosed article around in my Bible for several years. I can't tell you how many times I've read it and reread it. I want you to have a copy for your illustration file. And she had Xeroxed a couple of pages from Voice of the Martyrs. You know the name Richard Wurmbrand, who spent 14 years in a communist prison in Romania. And a number of years ago, Richard Wurmbrand had written this article for Voice of the Martyrs. And this is the article that she had carried around and read over and over again. It's the article she copied and sent to me. I just read a little part of it. Richard Wurmbrand says, let me tell you about a man who was in prison with me. Dimitri was a pastor whose backbone had been beaten with a hammer. When certain vertebra was hit, he was paralyzed so that he could only move his neck. You can imagine what a tragedy this was. If he had been in a home or hospital, he would have had a wife, mother, or nurse to take care of him. How would we, his fellow prisoners, take care of him? There was no running water to wash him, no linen to change him. He lay there in his human waste. He could not stretch out his hands to drink a cup of water. The others who could walk and work were taken to slave labor during the day. When they came back in the evening, he had to wait for them to help him drink a cup of water. He lay like this in prison for a couple of years. It was hell on earth. Then in December 1989, Romania had a revolution and the dictator Ceausescu was overturned. Freedom came and Dimitri was released from prison to be with his family and friends. No doctor could help him, but now he had loving hands to help him. He still could not move, hand or foot. One day, someone knocked at his door. It was the communist who had crippled him. He said to Dimitri, Sir, do not believe that I have come to ask forgiveness from you. For what I have done, there is no forgiveness, not on heaven, not on earth or in heaven. You are not the only one I've tortured like this. You cannot forgive me. Nobody can forgive me, not even God. My crime is much too great. I've come only to tell you I am sorry about what I've done. From you, I go to hang myself. That is all. He turned to leave. The paralyzed brother Dimitri said to him, Sir, in all these years, I have not been so sorry as I am now that I cannot move my arms. I would like to stretch them out to you and embrace you. For years, I have prayed for you every day. I love you with all my heart. You are forgiven. Here is the application. Go to Golgotha. Linger at the foot of the cross. ponder the dying, bleeding form of the Son of God. And then go and do for others what God has done for you. Can I say this to you here at the end? This really isn't a sermon about our speech. That's just the outward indicator. It's not even about the attitudes of your heart, because that's just a deeper symptom of the problem. Here's the question. How much do we really want to be like Jesus? It always comes back to that, doesn't it? How much do we really want to be like Jesus? Did he have enemies? Yeah. They hated him. They lied about him. Every evil thing that's spoken of in this text, they did to him. They slandered him. They cried out for him, crucify him, crucify him. They cheered as he died. We have our excuses. You don't know what they did to me. I'm going to hurt him like he hurt me. I don't know how much more I can take. Against all that, we have these tortured words from the cross. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. How much do we really want to be like Jesus? Which is why in the Christian life, everything keeps coming back to the cross. See from his hands, his feet, his head, sorrow and love flow mingled down. Did e'er such love or sorrow meet, or thorns compose so rich a crown?